Hello and welcome to my show Indus Cuisine, and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. So what is this show about? This is Pakistan's first culinary show which will be circulating around Pakistan's famous recipes, usually all the desi recipes. There are a lot of recipes that have not been documented up till now, but this show will tell you how to make all these famous recipes step by step and in easy ways. So when you talk about Pakistani cuisine, there is an idea behind the recipe that every recipe takes around 2 hours or 3 hours of slow cooking. But through my culinary skills, I'll be teaching you every recipe and you can easily make it at your home with all the available ingredients which are easily available in the market at a very nice mediocre rate in around 30 minutes. So what are we making today? So today's recipe is bhuna gosht. Bhuna means to saute. This recipe is originated from the province of Punjab, but it has its roots towards Hyderabad, Deccan. Before the partition of Pakistan, when India and Pakistan were one, the East India Company, which are the Britishers, used to rule this subcontinent. This recipe was made in all those famous households of all the Rajas and Maharajas which were living in Hyderabad, Deccan. This was a recipe which was made by the royal Khansamas. A Khansama is a person who is actually in today's world a famous chef. So when the partition happened and all these families broke apart and went their own ways, these Khansamas, these chefs, these famous royal chefs started their own small restaurants because they had to go on with their day-to-day lives and they needed to earn something from the skill they had, which was their culinary skill. So this recipe then came towards Punjab, and now there are different variations when you talk about bhuna gosht, but today we're going to teach you the most authentic definition of this recipe. So what are the ingredients for today's recipe? They're very easily available in the closest market you can go to. We need lamb for this recipe. If you want to use mutton, you can use mutton also, but usually in the Western countries, lamb is easily available, and in the subcontinent or in the Far East, usually people use mutton as the substitute. You need some salt, you need some yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt, which is easily available in your market. You need some oil. I'm using sunflower oil, around 4 to 5 tablespoons. Then you'll need some lemon, some fresh green chilies, salt to taste, some cumin seeds. You need some ground pepper. You need some cilantro. You need an onion, some fresh ginger. You need some garlic, red chili peppers, and some haldi. Haldi is actually called turmeric. Turmeric has been a part of our culture for the past hundreds of years, but now as you've seen that the Western society has this new fashion towards using turmeric, because turmeric has a lot of healing properties, and especially nowadays when all these pandemics and everything is on the rise, you should use things which will boost your immunity and which will keep you healthy. So firstly, what we will do, we will start deboning the meat. Okay, so I'll be using different color boards because there's a reason behind everything. You do not mix vegetables with meat or with ready-to-eat things. So we'll be using a red board for raw meat, you will be using a green board for the vegetables. The blue board is usually for seafood, which we'll actually use in the coming later episodes. And then last but not the least, you'll be using a yellow board. A yellow board is used for a finished product in which you can cut the pieces and then plate it. Okay, so first of all, you need some lamb. Always wash the lamb once you bring it from the butcher, dry it out and then use it. So first I'll use a boning knife. Find the joint is here, and then start cutting it. See, pull out the joint and go along the bone. If you want, you can even tell your butcher to make the pieces for you, but I was thinking of doing it in front of you. Slowly and gradually go with the bone and just now break it. Okay, now take out the pieces. That's one piece of meat. Then go against the bone again. Over here, the centerpiece. Slowly carve it. And then we'll start taking out the bone from here. See, the joint is over here. Take it over here. Take this knife. We'll be using the shank. Why? Because it has a lot of flavor in it. 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, and then I'm going to debone this part basically and take out the meat from here. Now this piece shouldn't be wasted. Anything that is derived from an animal should be respected and should be kept for later on. You can make a nice stock out of this piece of bone, which you can later use on in any other recipes as a reduction method, which is usually used in the culinary world. I'm going to save this in the fridge over here. Just wash your hands properly first. Dry them out. And now you need to make some small pieces. I'll be making around 1 inch by 1 inch pieces. Always keep your knife sharp so that the knife doesn't slip. Try feeling the muscle of the meat. Why? Because you need to go with the grain. So when we talk about lamb or when we talk about livestock, livestock has been a part of the human culture for a very long time, and history as it knows, we were hunters before human beings. Why? Because hunting was the easiest way to get food. When the agriculture time came, when this era came where people were domesticating animals, lamb, goat, which is also called mutton, were the first animals among many other which were domesticated and then used as the meat for daily use. Okay, now what you need to do, you will use a pressure cooker. So why do you use a pressure cooker? You use a pressure cooker, why? Because it quickens up the whole cooking time. So what happens usually if you use the normal way of making lamb, it will take around an hour and a half, but this method will speed up the method and you can cook within 20 to 25 minutes and the meat will be very tender and juicy. First of all, you need to add a little bit of water. And bring it to heat. So I'm going to switch on the stove, keep it on medium-low, and I'm going to saute the meat. Okay, so I'm going to take a wok, keep it over here. The heat needs to be really high. Add around 2 tablespoons of oil right now. Coat the whole pan, it will make it non-stick if the pan is not non-stick already. It's a small technique. While this is being done, I'll switch the board over here. I'll pick up a green board and I'll start preparing the vegetables. Okay, so whatever is used, keep it on the side. Always maintain your counter, maintain your station and keep it clean. Okay, first of all, you need some onions. I'll always keep the root on. Why? Because you keep the root on so that the onion doesn't start splitting. So what I'll do is, first of all, I'll just cut it like this. Now, what I do is, this is a very easy cooking technique where you can easily finely chop the onion without any mess. Slice it like this and then keep it close like a flower and you'll see the pieces are falling apart and you can finely chop it. Now this is the root, you don't need it, put it back in the dustbin. Slowly and gradually, whenever you're cooking, you see people, cooking really fast, chopping really fast. You can do that, but with time and practice. Don't start doing it in the first go, otherwise you'll hurt yourself. Okay, now this is done. The oil is hot. Firstly, I'm going to add one piece of garlic only. I'll crush it lightly so that the flavor goes into the oil. Turn it, let it fry for around 20-25 seconds. Move it around, keep it hot. And now I'm going to add the meat in it. So firstly, I'll add the boneless pieces of meat. And then in the end, I'll add the shank. Sear it. In our local language, you call this bhunna. So what's happening is the oil is giving it a nice coating, and this leads to the flavor being kept properly inside, which we also call interlocking the integral flavors of the meat. Add some salt to taste, around 2 to 3 small pinches. What does salt do? Salt brings out the moisture, and when moisture comes out, the flavor comes out. Okay, so now the water is a little warm. I'll take the pressure cooker off the heat and I'll transfer the meat over here. Now, I'm going to use the shank and sear it with my hand like this. There's some oil, I just need to start searing it slowly and gradually. The meat part, basically. See, it's changing color over here. This is what I want. It's changing color over here, as you see. And if you want, take a paring knife, make small cuts on the muscle. See? And then sear it again. This is done. Now you'll add this in the cooking pot. Put the stove off and now close the lid. Always remember, whenever you're closing a pressure cooker, press it on the top. It's going to come up, the whistle, and then lock it. Now this is done. Now the pressure cooker is going to be on the stove for around 20 to 25 minutes, and you'll start counting the time when this small whistle comes up and this one starts moving. So till the time this is cooking, go for a short break. I'll come back and I'll complete the recipe. Keep watching Indus Cuisine. Welcome back. You're watching Indus Cuisine and I'm your chef Basim Akhund. So what did we do before the break? I'll give you a small rundown. So we used the lamb leg, we sauteed it, which we also call bhunna, as we're making bhuna gosht, and then we put it in the pressure cooker for it to actually get softer and quicker, because the normal cooking method will take around 2 hours. Okay, so now before the break I just took some onion, finely chopped it, and now what do you need to do? I'll tell you. Take the wok, bring it to heat, add the remaining oil in it, around 3 tablespoons. I'll keep the remaining over here. When the oil comes to heat, I'll add the other things. Okay, the heat needs to be medium, not too high. And now you need to use green chilies. I'll give you a fun fact about green chilies. Green chilies are very good for your system. Why? That's the first question. It's because it increases your metabolism, and it's said that you will not gain weight as compared to the other people. So 50% of your metabolism increases, and it's less likely that you will gain weight, and it's good for your system also, as it kills all the added acidity. And whenever you talk about chilies, there are 2 types of chilies, green and red. Green chilies are easier to digest as compared to red chilies. Okay, the oil has come to heat. Add the onions, add around a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, or salt to taste. Mix it. Now add the green chilies. Mix it properly. And now what you need to do, you need to add some spices. First of all, some cumin. Add it where most of the oil is so that it gets a frying texture. Add some red chilies. Mix it up. Now you need some ginger. I peeled it. Finely chopped, so I'll make these small lines. Always keep a handkerchief with you over here. And finely chop it. Turn it around. And that's enough for now. Add it in the wok. Mix it up. What you need to do, you need to change the color of the onion and make it brown. Take around 4 pieces of fresh garlic. What you'll do is smash it. Finally chop it. A piece just went off the board. Oops, it happens. A fun fact about garlic, garlic has been used by the Babylonians, by the Amazonians, by the Egyptians as a medicinal ingredient for its medicinal purposes. It keeps your cholesterol low, it keeps your metabolism fast and your immunity up, especially in nowadays when all these different viruses and pandemics are coming in the world. You should eat things which will keep your system very fast. Okay, so now whatever you've used, just keep it on the side. Add some black pepper. Mix it up. And now start browning it. Increase the heat. The flame should be high. And keep mixing. Pakistani food is all about spices and integrating it at the right time. You need some yogurt also, which we'll add towards the end. Okay, now this is done. It's been around, you can say, almost 20 minutes, and I'll take the meat off the pressure cooker now. Yet again, always use a handkerchief so that you don't burn yourself. One, two, and three. Keep your eye over here, and as you can see, the onion has started browning. So when the onion starts browning, you need to keep in mind, you need to look at it closely. Why? Because it burns within 30 to 40 seconds. It's like this. This is done. Let the heat be high. Now let's come back to the pressure cooker. Keep it on a board, slowly open it, and the meat is ready. Now let me tell you two things. There are two ways of using the pressure cooker. You have to be very careful because it's like a ticking device. You need to be very, very careful. Two ways. Let it sit for like 20 minutes, or if you're a professional chef, you can keep it under the water for like 30 seconds, and when this part of the cooker comes down, you can open it. Okay, so it's done now. Let me show you quickly. I'll put the heat too low as this is done. The meat is ready. It's soft and it's falling apart. See? Now you just have to transfer it over there. But before that, you need to add some yogurt. Around 1 cup right now, and then the other cup in a bit. As you can see, there's no color added. The brown color is going to come from the onions when the yogurt is going to reduce. Now you'll start switching it over here. What do you need now? Let me see. You need this. You need a slotted spoon. Add the shank first, and then the meat. Quickly mix it up. When this is done, keep it on the side. And now add the remaining yogurt to it. Mix it. Tilt it so that you can mix it properly. Let the shank be half in it and half out, because I'm going to put the lid on and it's going to start steaming properly. So now the lamb has come to boil. The yogurt is boiling properly. And what we need to do is give it a lid and let it cook for around 15 minutes on medium-low heat. So I'll pick up the lid, keep it on top, and let it cook for around 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Okay, so till the time this is cooking, let's just clean the counter out. Let me tell you a fun fact about yogurt. Yogurt was first introduced by the Turkish people a long time ago, basically. And how did yogurt come into being? Yogurt was actually stored as milk in a sheep's stomach back in the day, and what happened was the bacteria, which is called the good bacteria, started transforming it into this curd-like texture, into this thick texture, and they realized that this can be used as something which is a substitute of milk. Why? Because yogurt has a longer shelf life than milk. Even if it goes sour, you can use it in different recipes, and especially the Turks use it a lot in their own regional recipes. Okay, now it's been around 20 minutes. I'm going to dish out the recipe. Keep this over here. First of all, just mix it. When you see the oil is coming up, which is happening right now, it's ready to eat. Mix it once more, and now we'll dish it out in front of you. Clean the area first, because cleanliness is very important. This is what I'll use to serve the recipe. Okay, keep it over here. The bowls are clean completely. Firstly, your hands are clean. Use the shank, which is delicious. Keep it over here. Now, mix it and just pour it in. Always clean it properly. And today's recipe is done. I'll come to you with another recipe in the next episode. Keep watching Indus Cuisine, and I hope you liked today's episode. Take care. Bye-bye.